Hello, welcome to the crash course on Anno 117 Pax Romana. My goal, Writing Bull, is that after watching this video, even as a complete Anno beginner, you'll be able to handle the game well. You'll be able to play your first game without mistakes, or at least with very few mistakes. That means you should know what's going on or how things work. There will also be a second video with tips for advanced players. You can find all these videos, including a guide on aesthetic building, in the playlist on YouTube, up there in the corner. You'll also see the word advertisement there, thanks to the publisher, Ubisoft. They asked me to make this video for you and are supporting it with a small fee. How do we start? By clicking on New Game. Then on the left you can choose the campaign. I always recommend that for beginners. Step by step, you'll be introduced to the game world and its mechanics, but most of your time will be spent in the endless mode in the sandbox of Anno 117. That's what we're playing too. First decision, a purely cosmetic one. Which character do you want to play as in the game, and which banner do you want to carry? This has no impact on actual game mechanics. Difficulty level, you can either choose one of three preset options. As a beginner, definitely choose normal, then the game world will be manageable for both your AI opponents and yourself. And besides, the competitors aren't too challenging either. You could also click on edit to adjust everything manually in different categories. However, personally I think that's unnecessary for beginners. We choose normal, then the suggested competitors appear, all with just a few difficulty stars. Feel free to go with those, you'll get along well with them. One more step, a summary of what we've put together. Most important decision, which starting province would we like? You can choose to start in Latium, which is the Mediterranean section modeled after ancient Italy, or you can start in Albion, which is modeled after the Celtic Gallic region. Great Britain, sort of. It's more difficult because there are also swampy areas. Does that mean there are special game mechanics that are missing in Latium? The islands in Latium are also a bit bigger. Feel free to start here and set sail, please. And here we are, starting in front of an island. The islands are not randomly generated, but randomly selected from a pool of handcrafted islands. You can settle anywhere here. First step, you grab your starting ship and send it out to explore the entire map. The easiest way to do this is by holding down the Shift key and right-clicking on the mini-map to set individual waypoints. You can check everything one by one here, even go into the center of the island, and then return to my starting point at the end. Next, reopen the build menu. You can zoom in and out with the mouse wheel, and you can change the angle by holding down the middle mouse button. You can also move in all directions using the arrow keys on your keyboard. The build menu is the most important one. It's down here, that's this crane, and next to it are some of the important ones. We'll start by laying down a few paths. All buildings on the island must be connected to this warehouse, your starting building, otherwise there will be a problem and the houses will take damage. We'll just lay a piece of road straight out from the center. Simple. And now we'll go ahead and place a few residential houses first. Each costs 1 wood. The bottom middle shows our starting wood, 30. On other difficulty levels there might be less wood. Skip, you can place it with the left mouse button, but there's no entrance system, so it doesn't matter which way you rotate the building or where the door is. However, by clicking the middle mouse button, you can rotate the building for cosmetic reasons to the way you like it. If you want to place several buildings at once, just drag them along here while holding down the left mouse button. Several houses are built at once. If you build 8 or 10 houses at the start, you'll definitely be on the safe side. At the top, you can now see that we have a number of citizens from the first population group. These are the so-called Liberti, the freedmen. Their value is providing the workforce. Up there, all the production buildings Only employees from a specific population group can work in each of them, and the lower production buildings need these liberty. Top left, you'll see our starting money and how much we lose each round or minute. That shouldn't worry you, it doesn't matter at the start of the game. Wood has gone down, so next we want to build a bit of wood, meaning we want to boost wood production. To do this, we click on the planks icon itself, and we see a simple production chain consisting of a lumberjack and a sawmill. Both have a processing time listed. That means in 30 seconds, 1 unit or 1 ton of wood is produced, and in another half a minute, in 30 seconds, planks are produced. So in the other building, the ratio is 1:1. You see under wood costs, that's what is paid in gold per minute, and you see that's the third one. That's how much Liberty workforce is needed, which would be 4 citizens here and also 3 here. Wood can only be placed in forests, whether it's near the buildings or further away, it doesn't matter at all. Basic rule, connect everything to the warehouse down here. It's recommended when starting these wood operations that take up a lot of space, not to build them too close to the residences and houses. For example, we could do it like this. We place it up here, right up here. The value has to be at least 100, otherwise the whole thing will run inefficiently into a forest area. Place it. 1 here, a second one for example up here in the front. Then next we'll place 2 sawmills, preferably not within the radius of these lumberjacks. 1 for example here and 1 up here in the front. And then we also need a warehouse. All buildings need a warehouse nearby so goods can be brought there. Alternatively, the raw material facilities are also happy to bring their supplies to the nearest suitable processing building. It's also recommended to place them together. This relieves the warehouses, but it doesn't change the fact that you need a warehouse. Warehouses can be found here at the bottom left of the view. We'll place one in the middle between them, or we can also put one here. Please leave some space for roads. That's our first small production chain. The red warning symbol indicates there is no warehouse within range. It's there, but there's no road connection. All facilities must be connected by roads. Here to the processing building, then a bit further down to the warehouse. Then we pull this around down here and connect everything, for example, across this settlement up here and create a connection down here. And now the road leads down to the contour. A little tip. The contour also works as a warehouse, by the way. That means you could also place production buildings next to it, connect them with roads here, and you would save a warehouse. But soon you'll have a lot of buildings by the water, and contours can quickly become overloaded. We'll do the same thing up here now with the other lumberjack hut. My tip, even for beginners, is to build at least 2 of these wood processing production chains at the beginning. It can also be 3 or 4. Wood is an extremely scarce resource at the beginning. Now we want to expand our settlement a bit. To do this, we click on the population group display on the Liberty, and there you'll find all the production buildings that make goods this population group needs. They unlock step by step from left to right. The more Liberty you have, the more buildings will be unlocked. We start by unlocking a sardine hut, which is for food, and then we can place it down here. And next to the building, we build a road again, and it will become part of it. Here the goods are produced, the sardines, and they are brought over to the warehouse. Goods are beamed between the warehouses. That means a good that is brought into a warehouse, or the warehouse office is automatically available to all other warehouses and the warehouse office. With that, we've fulfilled a need from the food category, and that's basically enough. In order to achieve a population increase later, you really only need to produce 1 good from the category. If it's easy, it's also recommended to produce a second good because you'll get advantages from that. Here it says for oatmeal, for example, our people also get oatmeal in addition, then that's it. You can accommodate 2 more citizens in each residential building. This happens automatically, giving you more taxpayers and workers. We click on the oatmeal, and here we need a farm and next to it a cook shop. Each of them has a production time of 1 minute. Everything is going smoothly here, done. Haferhof will be the first farm, the first farmhouse that you build. Let's put that up here as well. They can bring their goods right up front to the warehouse, so I'll place it here in the front. But then, like all other agricultural operations, these farms will also need additional extensions. To do that, we click on the oat farm and there's a display down here. Oat field 0 out of 80. So we need to draw 80 oat field pieces and they have to be directly connected to this field. You can draw them with the left mouse button. Tip for you, if you press the middle mouse button once, then you'll get this. Then you have a kind of brush and you can use it to look nicer. Paint fields that look a bit more organic. The operation that results from this would be just as productive. So if you place box by box, but it just looks a bit nicer. We need 80 fields, we still have to connect a few more. That's it, now we need further processing in the kitchen. Here too, it's advisable, if possible, to set it up near the business that produces the raw material. Short distances and the warehouse is relieved. In the meantime, I've expanded our settlement a bit, built more houses, and the wood supply is running low. To get planks faster, you can speed up the game by using the control below the mini-map on the bottom left. There are 3 speed levels. You can also pause at any time and you can build calmly in pause mode as well. My tip as a beginner, use building in pause mode, then you can get to know the game without stress. And a little tip, next to the minimap this symbol shows the time of day. Normally a day and night cycle passes automatically, which is purely cosmetic here. So the growing seasons and the citizens' working hours don't change because of this. Clicking on the time of day brings up this setting, and if you want, you can set it so that you have your favorite time of day. This can happen in the evening or during the day when visibility is often better. And you can use this slider down here to set whether the time progresses automatically or not. Now we have so many citizens that another need is unlocked. And this one is of a different kind, namely a service building. For public services, there are again 2 buildings to choose from, a tavern and a market. Again, you only need to build one of the 2 buildings to fulfill this category. You can build both, but we'll build the market. As an area effect, it grants +1 population and +1 income. That means the marketplace works, provides its service along these roads, and along these roads it's marked in green. Every building that's there benefits from the marketplace and gets this area effect. Residents live in residential buildings, not production ones. Every residential building that pays taxes gives +1 income. To make sure the marketplace reaches as many buildings as possible, it's a good idea to build the road network a bit denser so there are short paths to all the buildings. You can see from here that everything is easy to reach. I'll put the marketplace in a central spot. And we've already accomplished it. Later in the game, advanced roads become available, stone roads. Along these stone roads, citizens walk faster, transport carts move faster, and the distribution of services is extended over a longer period. Once you have these roads, it is recommended to place them as well. By now, we have so many citizens that another needs category has been unlocked, which is the need for clothing. We can either provide the people with tunics, or we can give them pilots' pointed hats, or both. Again, it's your decision. Do you want to progress quickly, or do you want to give the people all the goods they need and unlock additional effects? Let's click on the tunics, but let's do it differently. I'll make it a bit more complicated for you. Let's click on the pointed hats. It's a bit more complicated here because the production time is different. Pelias Filzer, the manufacturer of the pointed hats, has a processing time of only 30 seconds. The sheep farm is also constructed a bit differently, meaning the ratio here is 1 sheep farm to 2 Pelias Filzers, so that the production chain runs perfectly. The sheep farm can be placed further outside again, becoming the sheep farm. Let's place it on the bridge down here near the warehouse. It would also work elsewhere, but I'll demonstrate here how it works. Clicking on the sheep farm shows us. We don't have to draw fields like with the other agricultural buildings, but instead enclosures or pens need to be placed. 3 of them, which can be placed at a certain distance from the central building. If you build them too far away, it eventually won't work. A direct connection doesn't have to be present. There's the sheep farm. Now let's go up and next we'll place the production building for the hats, or actually both of them. And here, for the first time with a production building, you can see an additional effect, a range effect. At the top, you see the supply effects, plus an income, plus a satisfaction. That means if a citizen has a hat, he generates more money for you and he's more satisfied. The area effect, on the other hand, works similarly to the marketplace, only along the streets in its immediate vicinity. And it's advisable to place the building in such a way that as many of the residential buildings as possible are covered. Attention! For the Pelias Filzer to work, it absolutely needs a warehouse nearby to supply it with goods. Because the sheep are now brought down here into the trading post and can then be transported up to a warehouse, which he places up here nearby. Here, for example, and the connections are already made. Attention, later in the game there are buildings that act as area effects. Not only have positive effects, like the Pelias Filzer here, but can also have negative effects. A baker, for example, there's an oven there which increases the risk of fire, and then it's up to you to decide. Do you still want to take advantage of the area effect and accept the penalty as well? Or do you say, no, I'd rather do it this way. I'll place this building because I don't want to have a penalty far outside, for example, near the grain fields that would fit with the bakery, and near the mill, then you would have everything directly connected. My tip for beginners is, if you have a big penalty effect for such a building, it's better to build outside. That will save you a few grey hairs or a few singed eyebrows when your city goes up in flames. Now, let's get to know our competitors and the ways we can interact with them. On the left side of the minimap, you can see that we've now discovered 3 other island realms. A click on the minimap will beam you exactly to where the cursor is. And here we can then observe the foreign realms and see how far they've built. They haven't been as successful as we have, for example. There's a diplomacy menu on the left. You can access it down here under the folded hands. If you click on that, hello, you'll see the Emperor at the top left. You need to try to get along with the Emperor as well as possible. He will give you quests during the course of a game. If you complete these quests, he will reward you with more sympathy, and your sympathy with him will increase. Absolutely rock bottom. It could happen that you get attacked, but that's unlikely. Just do your tasks diligently, or most of them, and everything will be fine. With a click on one of the competitors and on this diplomacy icon, we can start negotiations. At the top left, you can see the options we already have, and those that will come later are marked in red. You first need a better relationship so that more advanced agreements become possible. For example, we could lend or gift each other money. We can also declare war at any time, but we won't do any of that. We're going outside once again. Would you like to know if you're producing enough goods for your burgers? Then press Ctrl and Q and you'll end up in the production menu. You can also access this by clicking the statistics button up here in the middle of the screen, right below your portrait. Here we are, and here you can sort. For example, by the goods people need, the consumer goods. The green bars show what you produce, the white ones show what's in demand. You can see that we're even producing a surplus of some goods. We just gave up on the tunics, we don't need them right now. We've already met the fashion requirements and everyone has all the goods, so they could now advance to the next population level. To do that, we click on the arrow icon at the bottom, the one pointing up, and then click on one of our buildings, and then there won't be any libertimers living there, but instead...
I think, husband.
We have found our sanctuary.
Plebeians live there now, and they have their own needs. You can now access them in the building menu by clicking on their icon, and here you can already see the first goods that are unlocked. More goods will be added later. The principle is the same as with the liberty. The more citizens you have, the more you move from left to right, and the more categories of needs are unlocked. You can now keep playing with the plebeian. Turning liberty buildings into plebea advances progress. Attention, remember, you need workforce in both areas, with the liberty as well as with the plebeian. Be careful not to upgrade too many liberty buildings, so you don't end up with negative workforce at the top. That wouldn't be too smart if you want to keep building in other categories down in the construction menu. If you click on the crane, you'll go back to the regular buildings. If you click on one of the portraits, you'll go to the buildings for that specific population group. I've let our settlement grow a bit more. There are more buildings there now, lots of new liberty and many new plebea houses. To build the production and service buildings for the plebea, we need a second resource. Down in the resource bar, next to the planks, bricks have appeared. My tip, as soon as you have a new population group, always build their resources, the new resources, first. And there's also a new principle here. The clay pit can only be built. The river courses in Anno 117. There are certain predefined points where you can build specific special buildings, like mills, clay pits, and others. They really only work on these points, since brick production doesn't necessarily have such incredibly positive effects on buildings nearby. There's a higher risk of fire, so let's move a bit further out, for example up here, and place a clay pit here. It produces a clay deposit, a clay barrel, a clay unit every 30 seconds, and with 2 brickworks, that matches a 1-minute cycle. We place one, you can rotate it with the middle mouse button, one here and one up here. And then we need a charcoal burner who produces charcoal every 30 seconds. We need those too, so that everything here can even be processed. You can see the negative effects on fire safety and satisfaction. Good thing we moved far away. Then we still need the obligatory warehouse because there isn't one nearby yet. Let's put it up here in the front and then we can build our road. That's how it's placed. Down here once, up to the front here, around here once, then we still need the connection to the whole city. I'll lay this along the coast here. That looks really nice. This goes down here, and this leads to the settlement. Everything has to be connected to the warehouse. Here's one more aspect of road construction we haven't shown yet. For the first time in Anno 117, you can not only build in squares, but also diagonally. For that, the checkmark for diagonal building has to be set. By default, it is. You can also build things at an angle if you want. You can make crooked roads, winding curves, however you like it. Bricks are produced here, and the next buildings will be available to us shortly. By now, so many plebeians live on our island that the second category of needs has also been unlocked. For this group, 2 options are available under public services. In this case, I would definitely recommend getting both of them, both the Sanctuary and the Grammaticus, because they unlock essential progression systems in the game. Grammaticus unlocks faith research, Sanctuary unlocks the principle of faith and the benefits you get from it. First, we build the Grammaticus, and place it as centrally as possible here. So that many houses are covered, because here it works like this. Every residential house within range of the Grammaticus produces +3 knowledge, and knowledge is the virtual resource that you use to gradually unlock game progress. Let's go over here to the front. And now you realize that it would actually be good to have a connecting road here as well, leading down here, because then you could get much further down here. A good opportunity to demonstrate the buttons on the bottom right side, which you can use to copy or move buildings. If you click on the hand, you can move buildings, for example, by 1 square or several squares. If you hold down the button, you can select multiple buildings at once. That's the demolition button. With it, you can tear down sections of roads or whatever else at any time. And then we also have the option to move things. As I said, you can move things using that, or just click once, hold down the mouse button, that works too. Unlocked space for a road, drag the road up here. This small connector is enough, so the marketplace extends further and connects more buildings. Now we've unlocked research, we click on it once, and at first the research screen is overwhelming. You can zoom in and out with the mouse wheel, and you can also move around by holding down the right mouse button. You see a lot of icons. They are divided into 3 areas: economy, civil society, and military. As beginners, set the military aside and focus on the other 2 aspects. For economy, for example, you can work. Everything is connected here with little connecting roads or arrows. Starting from the 3 central buttons, you can research along them. Take a look at the ones near the big ones and see what appeals to you. A tip from me, this one up here is quite nice, for example, the sewing circles. Then you'll generate extra knowledge near spinning mills, which is also quite nice. That you can upgrade warehouses just like you can upgrade residential buildings. Then there are more loading docks and more businesses can be covered. For example, you can research that first. You can also set up a production queue by clicking again, and on the left you can change the order at any time by dragging and dropping with the left mouse button. Any research points you've accumulated won't be lost. Go back up, and next a faith building, the sanctuary. We'll also place that as centrally as possible, for example right up here. And now the second progression system has been unlocked here, religion on the left, and here in the middle you can see this semicircle. You can switch between them by scrolling the mouse wheel or simply clicking from top to bottom. Some deities are still locked at the beginning. For example, they are unlocked through scientific research, like the one we just had. And at the start, I recommend beginning with series. Each of your islands, you'll settle more later on. If you want, can you worship a different god or have each deity appear on each island? The main thing is that the principle isn't violated, 1 god per island, no more. We'll choose series, she's always a safe bet. Then click Set Patron Deity. At the bottom left, you can see what's in this area. What bonuses are unlocked in this area? It's about agriculture, which can gradually be boosted. And you see a thermometer bar here, which fills up from left to right, and it gradually fills up with the faith points you earn. And there are certain levels, and when such a level is reached, the productivity increases in the areas listed here on the left. You can also take a closer look at your island at any time, either by pressing the F1 key. Then there's this view where you can look at everything as if in a postcard idyll. Press F1 again and you're back to the normal view, or you can press Ctrl-Shift and the R key. Then you'll be zoomed into the game world and can walk through here normally using WASD. You have a 3D avatar and can view everything up close. If you zoom in with the mouse wheel, it disappears and you can walk around in a true first-person perspective just as you like. Press Escape to exit again. However, we also want to settle another island now, because on this island, just like on any other, there are only certain fertilities. On the left, above the minimap, you can see them listed. If you hover over them, you can see what's available here. Certain types of fish can be found in the water, certain resources are found in the mountains, and there are specific crops you can grow here in agriculture. The more advanced your population groups are, the more exquisite their needs become, and the more you'll need to connect additional islands with different fertilities. I've sent our ship to another island in the meantime. Down here on the right, click on the ship menu, then the list of all our ships will expand. We have one, our starting ship. Double click on it and we'll arrive on site, and if you click on ships again, the display will disappear. Now you can see here how a trading post is displayed in draft view. We click on the ship, it costs a certain amount, and we click on the trading post icon. A certain amount of money is needed to settle here, so you don't need specific goods or anything else, just a certain amount of denarii. In this case, we don't have enough yet to settle. If we did, we would click on Build Trading Post and then go through all the steps you already experienced on the starting island. And this is what a fully developed settlement up to the end of the third population level in Latium looks like, with a magnificent aqueduct in the background, with 3 population groups at once, and especially with a second world. You can switch to this second world by clicking on Switch Province in the bottom left. Then you can switch to Albion. I've already settled islands there as well, either by clicking directly on Albion or by first going to this intermediate overview with the entire world. There you can go over, click all the way in the top left and switch over to Albion. Alternatively, you can also do this with the keyboard, that is Latium. If key 1 is assigned and you press key 2 on the numeric keypad of your PC keyboard, you'll automatically end up in Albion and be there in this Gallic world. I've already settled several islands here. Here, the weather is worse. Also, there are still these reed areas. Do you see them? Some of the production facilities can only be built in this swampland here, which you normally wouldn't do, just like inside as well. You just build roads, but here they're just walkways, and you place certain production buildings here. You can either place warehouses on the reed areas or put them in the city itself, within walking distance to the industry via the roads. The principle is the same. In a second video, you will get tips for advanced players. Among other things, it will cover the military system, the influence system, building villas, and many smaller or bigger tricks. I will embed that video here at the end of this one. If you don't want to miss anything about Anno 117 Pax Romana from me, feel free to subscribe and click the bell, and have fun with your very first game with Anno 117. And maybe while checking out more tips, tricks, and videos here with me at WB,